Everyone, this is Dr. Catherine Kelly, and for this Wednesday, which is a little bit rainy here, I'm not sure what it's looking like where you are, I want to bring some Soul Wisdom Wednesday to you. And what I want to talk about today is the whole idea of how we redecide changes our karma and it changes our evolution. So in other words, it spurs or fuels or enhances our evolution when we redecide something. So what do I mean by that? Well, number one thing I mean that, we can redecide. We can redecide that we're not going to think something, we're not going to do something, that we're going to think of something a different way, that we are going to take a different path, we are going to consciously change something in our lives that's going to hopefully take us down a better trajectory. But what does redeciding do to us karmically or from an evolutionary standpoint, or basically from our soul's enhancement and evolution itself? So take, for instance, someone who redecides that they are no longer going to beat up on themselves emotionally. What does that do? Well, in essence, what it does is it reprograms us. It tells us that we are no longer going to be harsh toward ourselves. And so what does that do? It enhances our soul health. Our soul health tree from my model really becomes enhanced, because if you're no longer beating up on yourself because you've redecided not to, then you are going to be more loving, more likely to be proactive for yourself. When someone redecides that they are no longer going to let someone take their power away from them, which I think is what's happening in this world right now, is a lot of women are deciding they're no longer going to allow some of their perpetrators from the past to take their personal, emotional, sexual power away from them. They have redecided to take their power back so that they can move into a whole new awareness. What that does is it sends them into a whole new trajectory of their evolution, because they don't have to stay mired anymore. People who have to redecide that they want to change a career. They decided years ago that so-and-so was a certain career for them, and then they're finding out it doesn't work for them, or maybe the system doesn't work for them anymore. But when you redecide to do something that more aligns you with yourself, and that's what I talk about, is aligning yourself for radiant living. When we redecide that we're not going to do something that misaligns us, but then we decide that there is something that is going to better align us, that is evolution in itself. But it's that whole idea of when we consciously redecide something, it throws us into a whole new awareness, a whole new awakening, a whole new possibility and probability of where our lives are going to go. And so for this, I want for this day, I want to have you really think about, what do you need to redecide? What is holding you back? Is it an old thought? Is it an old belief? Is it a pattern? Is it a expectation that a family member or a friend or society has placed on you? But what do you need to redecide today in order to put yourself into a better place for your own evolution? Now, evolution is all about, like I said before, it's about learning enough about ourselves and caring enough about ourselves and loving ourselves enough to align our lives for our truth. So aligning ourselves in that space that will bring us to our truth, rather than living up to someone else's expectations or ideas. Now, I had a conversation with a client yesterday, and I said this before on videos, but I'm going to say it again, that really it's a trap to try to find your life purpose, because finding your life purpose often sends us off into what people expect for us, or society expects, or whatever, maybe our own expectations that might be faulty. So finding our purpose can be a big trap. But what I try to encourage people to do is find your truth. When you find your truth, you align your life for you. You align your life for what fits for you, and then your purpose shows up. And I hope that makes sense. Now, I'm going to say something that I said to her yesterday, is that when we are basically trying to find our purpose, we are thinking. It's a cerebral process. So finding our purpose is a very cerebral process. Whereas finding our truth is a soul process. Finding who we are and living who we are is a soul process, because that means we are going to work on aligning our lives for radiant living, as I say. And that's when we get in trouble too, is that when someone else has decided for us what our life is supposed to be like, or what we're supposed to do, or how we're supposed to act, then then it throws us off course. It misaligns us. But if you redecide, and I'm going to keep using that word, redecide to align your life for your own radiant living, then everything else falls into place. And also that enhances your own evolution. So that's the psychology of the soul. And there's so many other things that I'm going to bring up to you that will help you with Wisdom Wednesdays, is to help you understand that the things we go through in the human condition are part of our soul's evolution. And if we don't start looking at it that way, we are going to miss a whole lot of cues, and we're going to miss the boat. We are going to miss out on a whole lot of growth and evolution. So think about what you need to redecide today, and think about what it is that is misaligning you, because that will guide you into redeciding to align, hopefully, in the future. That is radiant living. So, Psychology of the Soul. This is one of the videos for Wisdom Wednesdays, and I look forward to hearing your comments. I hope you have a wonderful day. And go to www.Dr.KatherineT.Kelly.com for more information. Also, you can hit all of my social media icons there to see what else I'm doing. So, have a great day. Bye-bye.